Check the mic. Ooh, it's hot. All right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Doug Oswin. I'm the public speaking teacher here at Madison High School. I've been teaching at Madison High School for 11 years, and I've been teaching public speaking for 10 of those 11 years. It's one of the classes that I most look forward to because of how authentic it is in terms of its learning outcomes, right? So the students are learning the skills that they're gonna need in their life to make sure that they're comfortable in front of a group of people that they may or may not know, right? And to make sure that they're well-spoken, prepared, and moving forward with the skills that they need. And you can't say that for everything, right? I also teach British literature, and the close reading skills and the writing skills, nonpareil, but I don't know about Beowulf, right? I hear that a lot. I don't know about this Beowulf stuff, and that's fine. Public speaking, though, no question. And as a teacher, we revise our assignments, right? We mix it up. We try new things. We see what works, what doesn't work. We're always evolving. The tribute speech has not changed since I began teaching this class because it is such a meaningful opportunity to share how you feel about someone who's impacted you and your life, right? And as seniors preparing to graduate from high school, I mean, there's no better way to honor those that have helped you along the way. Right? And thank you so much, our guests who are here, for being present for that. And for our guests who could not be here, thank you for joining us virtually. It's really lovely, and we appreciate it. It is a delight to introduce our first presenter, Anna Felberg.
Hi, I'm Anna Felberg. 12, 15, 20, 20. Numbers. Only numbers. That's all I saw them to be. Numbers that had no purpose but to serve us the day. These numbers, though, were different. They had a purpose this time. 8 numbers that would impact an innocent 16-year-old mind forever. My father, Robert Felberg, was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2018. And struggled for many years before his passing. But let's not dread on his death, but his accomplishments as a doctor and father while he was living. My father was a stroke neurologist for most of his life. He did incredible things during his practice, especially during difficult times. He was a hero during Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Sandy. There's an article written about him during Hurricane Sandy when he drove millions of miles because a guy had a stroke. He knew this man was in danger and he went out and saved him. My dad said I was going to do anything I could to make sure this man got what he needed. I didn't care how far I needed to go or how far this would take. This showed that my dad really was a hero and he would do anything he could to save people. And that shows you exactly who my father was. My father wasn't only an amazing doctor, but he also was a one-of-a-kind father. We had our special moments that made me feel like the only daughter in the world. We used to dance together, we used to play yo-yo together, and we used to watch TV together. And this really made me feel so happy and so loved. So thank you, Dad. Thank you so much for being there for me and being my hero. My dad had a really hard childhood. He was abused and he had to raise himself. And if my father was able to become such an amazing, incredible guy, so could I. When my dad was diagnosed with colon cancer, I really struggled at looking at his eyes. I used to hide in my room and hang out with my friends, so I didn't have to accept the fact that my father was dying. And because of that, I lost so many years of smiling with him and hanging out with him, and I could have had those years, but I let my emotions get to me, and I regret that more and more every single day. There's this video of my dad trying to get my attention weeks before his passing. Hold on a second, if this works. Wait, where is it? Sorry.
You can hit escape, Anna.
Oh, here it is. No, where is it? Here it is. And when I saw that video from his text message, I knew I didn't have much time left with him, and I needed to be the daughter that he deserved. So I started hanging out with him more and taking care of him more. And it was so hard because the worse he got, the more difficult it was to recognize him because he just wasn't who he used to be. And I didn't see my father, but I knew even though it was so hard, I needed to be there for him because he would do that for me. So I kept being there for him. I was there. It was on his last days. I watched his last breath, and I said my last goodbyes. And I love you, Father, and I hope I make you proud, because it's been really difficult without you, but I've learned how strong I really am, and I will always have your love and care with me throughout everything. So thank you, Dad. I love you. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Anthony Contessa. Today I'm going to be talking about my mom. Growing up, or if you ask anybody now, I feel like when you ask them who their greatest role model is, I feel like they say one of their parents or both their parents, and that's definitely the case for me. Both of my parents are my biggest role models. I look up to them a lot, and I will for the rest of my life. So it's hard to choose between one or the other, but I'm going to be talking about my mom today because I feel like I have created a special bond with her throughout my whole life and been able to connect with her the most. So a little background on my mom. My mom went to Whippany High School, and then after that she went to Rutgers to study to be a pharmacist, and then graduated in 1997 from there. Growing up wasn't the easiest for my mom. Her parents got divorced when she was 17, so she had to go the rest of high school and college, kind of without that support and help from her parents like a lot of us are lucky and able to have. I respect her a lot for being able to stay focused through that time in her life with that stuff going on, and being able to be successful through all that. When me and my sisters were younger, a lot of the time my dad had to travel for work, so it would be me, my two younger sisters, and my mom a lot of the time. So I remember when we were in elementary school, my mom brought us to her work every morning before school to open up the pharmacy, which is where she works, and me and my sisters would sit in the back room of the pharmacy, and we would wait for school to start. And once school was about to start, my mom would walk us down to school, and then she'd walk back and usually worked most of the day. And I think that shows a lot of her character and her selflessness, that she was willing to take time out of her day to do that for her kids. And she does so many things for me and my family that I'm just very grateful for, and I don't know what we'd be able to do without her. And she's definitely the backbone of our family, and I'm very proud to be able to call her my mom. So thank you.
Hello everyone. I'm going to be talking about my parents again because they've given me unconditional support and are a huge influence on my life. This is a picture of me and my parents at church. That's one thing they always push me to do is religion, sacrifice, hard work, grit, integrity, and they use that by setting an example every day with me. Background about my parents. My dad, both my parents grew up in Hudson County. My dad went to Bayonne, went to Marist High School. Then he went to Seton Hall, majored in business, and wound up being a financial advisor at Stifel. And my mom grew up in North Bergen and wound up going in the biological fields. Became a professor at NYU for biology, and she found a ton of success in the science field. They just took one of their passions and just took it, and they just kept striving forward, and that's what they teach me every day. And yeah, I'm definitely proud of them for that. But my mom sacrifices a lot, being just a mom, the ton of support she gives me and to everyone else. It's not even about like her accomplishments, it's about how she helps others. I see it every day. She's always looking to make other people better, and I just think that's great. My dad, more so, just pushes me to be great every day. You know, he's always pushing me to train, stuff like that. He always looks at the bottle half empty, but, you know, it's good because, you know, it pushes everyone. They have a ton of qualities they share. Integrity is one of them. Grit, I would say my dad. Intelligence and moderation. They do a lot of things in moderation that I saw. They do a good job of balancing things out, whether it's academics or sports or whatever they do in their life. They're very smart with what they do each and every day. Yeah, so my mom and I are extremely caring towards each other. We share a balance, a respect. My mom, she does a lot for me. I mean, she should be here today. It's actually her birthday today. But, you know, I messed that up. She should be here, but she didn't make it, but it is what it is. She'd be here in a heartbeat. And my dad's at work. But, yeah, my mom does everything for me, maybe even, like, too much. She makes dinner, she helps me with my day every day. Anything I ask her for help, she's always there, no matter what. And it's great. My dad, too, but, mostly my mom. She's there whenever it's school or even sports, or I could say anything to her, and she's going to be there, and, you know, that's what's great about it. My dad, you know, he sets an example with working hard, and, you know, I strive to be that every single day. You know, or he'll even work out with me, just to get me. You never want to be sick around my dad, for sure, because if you're not feeling well, he'll be like, oh, that's because you don't work out and stuff like that. But that's just his mentality, and it's great, and that's where you gotta be. So that's what I learned. They're so supportive. I should go through these pictures. This is my confirmation. This is before a wrestling match. They're just so supportive. They come to everything. This was yesterday, actually. They come to everything. They love watching me compete. They're competitors with me, and they're just there all the time. And it's great to have support when you're wrestling, you're competing. Your parents even, they'll cut work, stuff like that, just to be there. And it's just a remarkable experience to be a part of, to have your parents there. And that's my special relationship with them. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Beckett, and for my tribute speech, I decided to do it on someone who has not only been there for me my entire life so far, but I know will always be there for me moving forward, no matter what, throughout all my highs and my lows. This is why I decided to do it on my father, John, and on the outside, he's not the most sociable person and doesn't really like talking to many people, especially the ones that he doesn't know. He has his own group of people and doesn't really branch out from that. However, if you do get to know him, he's one of the realest people you'll ever meet. As you can ask Luke, he has given him conversations about how he needs to get in shape for soccer season, and he'll always be the one that's there to tell you the truth. My father is an English teacher at Westfield High School, where he is also the assistant wrestling coach. And over the summer, he bartends events and weddings. And he got there he went to college at Hofstra University, where he wrestled for 2 years before re-injuring his knee. And then he moved on to grad school at Drew University. And this is him. And then, this seems like a very normal path to be an English teacher, go to college, then move on to grad school, and then start teaching. But this is not really how it went for him. As his sophomore year, he failed out of college and dropped out. And then also that same year, him and his really smart friends had an alligator living in their house. So he got his finger bit by the alligator pre-dropout, and then he kind of noticed something's up and he needs to get together. So he comes back to school, and he's now taking on so many classes that he's technically never a junior in college because he took so many classes one semester, so he went right from sophomore to being technically a senior, which just shows how dedicated he can be if he puts his mind to it. And he's made some mistakes, and he's honest about that. As through college, he knows people will make mistakes and mess up. So he's never been too on me about mistakes, and he doesn't try micromanaging me. He lets me do my thing, and then if I make mistakes, he'll call me out on it and tell me I need to do better. But he's always there to be real with me. And then also when I hurt my knee and I was told my soccer season's over and I'm not going to have any wrestling season my senior year, everyone was telling me how sorry they felt for me and how like bad it was that this happens now. But my dad was the only one to hold me accountable, and he did give me a few days to be upset. But then after those few days, he got on me. It was like, you need to get your stuff together and focus on school and just move on with your life. As it was going to come to an end, sports were going to come to an end anyway. It just came a little bit early. And this has always been our dynamic, as my dad is always the one I'll go to, and he's the one that I feel, listens to me the best. As sometimes growing up, my house would get a little hectic, and I would feel a little lost at times, and my dad would be the one that always checked up on me and like saw how I was doing, and always, he made me feel heard when I wasn't very vocal. And also when he was living in South Plainfield, he would always make the drive right from work to come see me, to either have dinner with me at least twice a week, and then go right from having dinner with me, or even bring me back to South Plainfield so he could cook my favorite food, steak, and then have to drive me all the way back to Madison, and drive all the way back to South Plainfield to grade his work and get up again for his job, which really made me felt like and that I was heard. So thank you.
So hello everyone, my name is Ben Clay, and I'm going to be talking about Michael Keller. So when I first met Michael, we were third graders in Miss Leginski's class at Kings Road Elementary. Later on, Michael would actually tell me that he first found me quite annoying, but despite these reservations, we quickly became best friends. Right now, I invite you all to think of that someone who you feel has been a part of your life for as long as you remember. Someone who, no matter what, has always been there for you, and has never failed to make any day just a little bit brighter. In my life, Michael is that person. He is, without a doubt, the older brother whom I never had but could not possibly live without. And so I want to take this time now to shed some light on why I think he deserves all of your admiration as well. In virtually all the years I've known Michael, he's been someone I've looked up to as a model for the characteristics I hope to embody. There are an infinite number of different ways I could approach describing Michael, some of which take far more time than I'm allotted here today. But if I had to narrow it all down to just one simple concept, it would be success. Now, of course, we all have a definition of success in our own minds, but in my use of the word, its meaning is far from singular. First, I certainly believe that Michael exemplifies a more typical, concrete definition of success. Throughout high school, he has always been a diligent, hardworking, and high-achieving student. I've long admired how he's always planned and foresight into a specific academic advancement and success that he sought for himself. And I've long valued his incredible intelligence, whether it be for friendly debate or serious advice. Michael's hard work, dedication, and drive has led him to the finishing line in a literal sense also. Michael has ran track and field for a number of years now, and has routinely achieved success at a very high level. I vividly remember all the times he's called me to celebrate another PR or another medal he's won, and all of this has in turn delivered him a plethora of opportunities, namely in the form of college offers with scholarships and the opportunity to run at the university level. However, the definition of success I find most important when talking about Michael is an abstract one in reference to success not in terms of metrics or grades, but of character, of virtue, and of personality. These traits are what, in my mind, make Michael who he really is, and most genuinely defines who I've come to respect and cherish our friendship to this degree. Michael's status in my life as a brother figure has long stemmed from how he carries himself wherever he goes, that being with a truly ever-present sense of selflessness and maturity. Michael is infinitely kind and caring, dependable, fiercely loyal, and above all, one of the most genuine people I've ever met. Here is someone I know who has not only spoken his mind about how he feels he should be or how the world should be, but someone who strives each and every day to embody those principles to their fullest. He is successful in that he strives every day for the betterment of himself and for the betterment of all those around him, and I can personally attest the impacts that depth of character can have. From helping with homework, to getting me to try all kinds of new things at his various birthday parties as a kid, to reminding me of the importance of spending time outside of schoolwork by challenging me to Pokemon battles, Nerf wars, and all kinds of other social events I rarely had the option of refusing, to pushing me to trust my heart, follow my instincts, and make the most of any opportunity that comes my way. Michael has undeniably made me more bold, more outgoing, more confident, and more determined to strive for and attain my own multi-layered definition of success. Being such a constant figure in my life, Michael has also been a witness to the many times I've struggled. There have been many times where I've failed or made a mistake, and there have been many times where I could only think of myself as a failure and as a mistake. In the interest of brevity, just know that I've been in some dark places at times in my life. But no matter what, Michael has always been an immeasurable source of light and support, helping me to weather the storm and guide myself toward new horizons. In keeping with his tenets, his door has always been open to me, and the trust I've gotten to develop with him as a result has helped me in ways I could never have enough time to truly describe. And so, to finish out my time here, I hope that what I've shared with you serves to exemplify why I so highly value my friendship with Michael, and why I think he deserves all the respect and recognition in the world. I hope that it inspires you to take the time to ensure that the Michael in your life also knows that they are appreciated. And Michael, I'm sure that third grade you could have never anticipated all of this, but I'm extremely excited for all of the years ahead. Thank you for being everything that you are, and to you all, thank you for your time and for your attention.
Hello everyone, my name is Carmine Soto, and today I'm going to be telling you about a very important person in my life, and that is my dad. So, my dad has been an ultimate role model throughout my life, and he's a very special person to me. So, who is my dad? Well, my dad, his name is also Carmine. He's the third Carmine in my family, and he's lived in Madison his whole life, never really leaves. And he went to Fairleigh Dickinson University, also in Madison. So he has always helped me throughout my life, and he's a very funny, caring, Italian family man. So ever since I was little, I'd always see him working, and that is because he has two businesses. One is C. Toto & Sons, a painting business that he started with his dad when he was in high school. And he always told me that no matter what, you always have to work to earn what you want. So not only did he work and start his own business with his dad, but he started his own by himself, Villa Rose Wine. And that is a wine school where he teaches people how to make wine, and it's pretty cool, so I'm going to show you a quick video of that.
For families of Italian descent in particular, their pride is all about keeping tradition alive. One family in Madison has transformed their love for wine and the social aspect of making wine into an opportunity for others to share in the joy of the winemaking process.
I enjoy a glass of wine, and I enjoy homemade wine, and so I started making wine with friends and family, and I just enjoy doing it.
wine was once a hobby that evolved into a passion to celebrate and preserve his Italian roots.
We're very family-oriented, and what the wine school has done has brought a lot of, really it's almost like an extension of our present family into a much larger family. As the friends come, sometimes they bring their children, sometimes we even had a couple grandchildren here. So that's the part that I really enjoy about this the best, is that getting all the family together, a good sense of tradition, and trying to extend it from one generation to the next generation.
So pretty cool that he learned himself.
For families of Italian,
He taught himself how to make wine, and he's teaching other people. So that's always been an inspiration to me. And growing up, seeing him always on the job, working constantly, that really rubbed off on me. And he always told me, whatever you want, you gotta earn it. So whether that was with school, baseball, or in the weight room, I always remembered that, and it really paid off in the long run for me. As that little kid that you see on the screen, I never would have thought to say, but he's playing college baseball, and that's because of my dad. And I really wouldn't be able to do it without him and all his support. So during quarantine, he built me a batting cage and would always take time out of his day to help me improve. He would have catches with me, he would hit me ground balls, and he even built an own weight room in our garage because, like he said, if you ever want anything, you gotta work hard. So that's what I took out of it, and he really just, he's always been there for me no matter what. Taking time out of his own day, he's just the most selfless person you can think of, and the fact that he cares just as much about me, he cares just as much about my success that I do, it's really special, and not everyone can say that, so I'm really happy to say that. So not only does he help me with baseball, but he helps the community. He is always helping the community. The Christmas parade, in town, that doesn't happen without him. So he's always behind the scenes, making it happen, making sure everything's in order. And he does it because he loves to see the joy on people's faces during Christmas time. And from when I was little, he'd always brought me and my cousins to go and set up the nativity scene and Santa house you see around town. And it's just a really special thing that he cares so much about other people that he's willing to take time in his own day to put a smile on other people's faces. So Dad, there is only so much I could say, but in this short little time, but I really want to thank you for all you've done for me, and you've truly been an amazing inspiration to me. So Dad, I love you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine Purse, and today I'm going to be talking about my mother, Sharon Purse. The quote by Washington Irving, "A mother is the truest friend we have. When trials heavy and sudden fall upon us, when friends desert us, when trouble thickens around us, still she will cling to us and cause peace to return to our hearts." Leading by example, when I was little, I remember this one time I was left out by my friends. I came home really upset, and my mom sat me down and comforted me. She helped me calm down and then told me that we could do whatever I wanted that day. Even though she may not remember that moment, I do. It made me feel so special and loved. Throughout my life, any time I've ever had a conflict, I can always count on her thoughtful and wise input. It is relieving to know that I always have someone who I can and will forever trust to talk to. A characteristic of my mother that I think is rare nowadays is that she always looks for the good in people. She recognizes that humans will be flawed, but still looks for their fundamental goodness. I admire her for her loving, kind, and caring soul. Her humor is also something that I am grateful for, because she never fails to make me laugh. Also, it is nice to have a mother who I can joke with and who enjoys my jokes. Making my mother proud is something I strive to do. When I do great on a test, quiz, or project, my mother is without a doubt the first person I want to tell. When I don't do as well, even though she may be disappointed, she pushes and encourages me to do better on the next one. My mother never gave me any ideas that I couldn't do something or be whoever I wanted to be. Not only does my mother have the biggest heart, my mom is, in my opinion, the most interesting person alive. I will be talking to my mom, and she would just so casually mention all of these cool stories. She dated Ralph Lauren's son, met Mother Teresa, partied with the B-52s, and modeled for many different companies like Kellogg's, causing her to walk into supermarkets and see her face on the cereal boxes. Even though she is full of surprises with the things she has done and experienced, she is so much more than that. With all of that, my mom put her career and exciting life on hold to raise her 4 children. Being the youngest of those 4, for years I had her all to myself. She was my first best friend. As a stay-at-home mom, she and I were inseparable. Because of this, my whole life I have been called my mom's mini-me. I adapted many characteristics and mannerisms, and I couldn't be more honored to take after such a remarkable, kind, funny, and caring person. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Diego Estevez. I would like to start by asking the audience a quick question. How many of you have a sibling? Okay. Now, out of you who raised your hand, how many of you are twins? Not that many, you see. So this makes sense, because statistically speaking, out of every 250 natural pregnancies, 1 will result in the mother giving birth to twins. I just so happen to be lucky enough to be 1/2 of that 1 in 250. The other half is my twin sister, Daniela. Daniela and me were born on April 20th, 2005, more than a month before we were even due. Whose fault was it but mine? I kicked very hard. This would be only the first of many situations that I would cause that my sister would feel the direct consequences. Due to our early birth, Daniela and I were not fully developed and had to spend several days in incubation. This would be the first of many challenges that we would overcome together. For the first few years of our life, before school started, we lived pretty solitary. We didn't have that many friends due to the language barrier that kept my parents from maintaining relationships with non-Spanish speakers. And the few that we did have weren't my age. So until school started, Daniela was my only friend. And even though we were polar opposites in interest and personality, we would always seek each other out for companionship. We would watch all the same shows together, play the same games, and laugh at all the same jokes. Our bond became so strong that if we were ever separated, it would affect us greatly. For example, if Daniela ever missed a day of school for whatever reason, it would make it that much harder for me when I had to go. Partly due to jealousy, but mostly due to missing her. And Because of this, we never spent any significant amount of time away from each other. A few days at most, but this was rare indeed. Even when we would yell at each other and argue, we would not be able to hold a grudge long without mending bonds. No force on this planet could keep us at bay. Even when we had separate friend groups, when we would rarely share classes together, different after-school activities, or whatever other reason, we would constantly gravitate back towards each other. Even illness wasn't enough to keep us apart, mostly because whenever one of us would get sick, the other one would follow suit. Even separate consciousness were not enough to keep us at bay. I'm sure you all know the myth that twins can feel each other's pain. Well, for me and Daniela, that holds a little bit of merit, at least mentally, since it's impossible for one of us to hide anything significant from the other. Almost as a sixth sense, we can tell when something is bothering the other. My biggest fear, and the thing that I will miss the most when I have to grow up and head off to college, is for the first time in my life, I'm going to be away from her. So, we participated in a program called ALFE. It is a program set up by the Spanish government so that the children of native Spaniards may become bilingual. The program is a 10-year endeavor. It was basically a second school for us, with tests, essays, homework, and 3-hour-long classes that we would have to attend every week for the whole academic year. We hated it, very much. Around the third year of the program, Daniela was given the opportunity to skip the fourth year, as a reward for her outstanding academic achievement in the program. I was not given the luxury. So this would mean that Daniela would be a year ahead of me, and we would not share classes. She promptly turned down the offer. Rather, she wanted to stay with me and complete the program together. Today, I know for a fact that I would have not returned the favor back then. So I definitely owe her much for the selfless act. What I learned from that sacrifice is that no matter what, she will never leave me behind. Her mentality that day was either we both advance or neither one of us advances. And that gives me the motivation to do my absolute best in everything. If only I had worked a little harder, if only I had been a little better, we could have advanced together. So now, since that day, I try my absolute hardest in everything, so that if a situation like that ever arises again, I won't be holding her back. As we grow up, and as we go to college and traverse the complicated world of ours, I thank God every day that I'll have my sister by my side. And that I know that she'll always be there for me, just as she has since the day we were born. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you.
May I introduce our next presenter, Eric Selquist.
Hello. So, I'm Eric Selquist. I was presented with the project to write a tribute speech about someone that has impacted my life and been important to me. So I chose to write about my grandfather who's here today. I wrote about my grandfather because he's been important in my life forever and he's always supported me through everything. One of my favorite things about him is that he makes time for everyone and everything no matter what. Whether it's work, his friends, or his family, he'll always make everyone feel cared for and valued. So before going into all different stories about him, I want to talk about one of my favorite traits of his. So whenever I have a game or event in my life, or just something that we both enjoy, he always makes an effort to either come to the event or go to things such as the Cubs game, as you can see. this is one of my favorite things about him because I always feel valued and like I always feel important when he does these things, and I know that he's always there for me. And you guys probably know him from yelling at a lot of my sporting events at the refs. So this is one of the ways that I know that he supports me no matter what. Every year, our family takes a trip with our extended family to South Carolina. So this is our family on vacation. One of my favorite things that he does is he'll wake up in the morning very early and go to the bakery to get our family's favorite foods. No one asks him to do this, and he isn't told that he has to, but he still does this very often because he knows that we all love it, and it makes all of us feel very appreciative because he'll do something and take his own time out of his day just to do the little things that make us all feel important. So my grandparents have us often at their house, whether it's for birthday parties, Thanksgiving, or Christmas, or whatever the event may be. So I'm going to tell a story from a couple years ago at Thanksgiving. So during Thanksgiving, a lot of the grandkids, me included, were either playing football or hockey or basketball. And when the other grandchildren came inside and asked him if he wanted to go play hockey, he hurt his back earlier, and then he said that he would go out and play with them. But my grandma, after they left, said that he probably should not, and she was probably right. But even though he still said that he has to, and that's what you do when you have grandkids. So that's always been important to me because no matter what he's feeling, or if he wants to do something or does not want to do something, he'll do whatever makes everyone happiest, and that's always been very important to me and made me feel valued. So my favorite experience that I get to share with my grandfather is golfing, and we've been doing this since a young age, as you can see. So golfing has been one of my favorite things that I can do with him because we're able to spend time together and talk about whatever we want, whether it's sports going on or our family or what we want to do on vacation. It's always like an open conversation for a long time, and that's always been very important to me. My favorite memory golfing with him was at a place called Congaree in South Carolina. So I had never played there before, and neither has my father or brother, but he took us there, and we were able to share a new memory that we did not have yet. And being able to share that with him and just talk about whatever we wanted has always been very important to me, and having these experiences has been very pleasant in my life. He's always been such an important character in my life and has been there for everything as he's here today. So he'll always make the extra effort to make us all feel important and welcome. So, thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Jack Eckhart, and today I'll be talking about a special person in my life, my dad. To get us started, my dad grew up in upstate New York in a small town called Carmel where he lived with my two grandparents and my uncle. After high school, he went on to college at Albany University where he got his degree, and now he works for a company called Fortinet. 3 words I would like to describe my dad is selfless, kind, and a funny person. He helps me every day of my life. When I was doing my college Common Apps, he was helping me every time, doing my resume, my essay, everything like that. And when I was getting my permit, my driver's permit, he would take me going on driving, everything like that. So it was very helpful for me, and yeah. As a young kid, he introduced me to sports. He put me in t-ball, rec basketball, and I play those sports today. So if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be playing those two sports. So thank you for that. If it weren't for my dad, I wouldn't be the person who I am today. So I also have to thank him for that as well. My dad is a very resourceful man. He pushes me every day. He's the first person I go to, whether it's for sports, college, school, everything like that. He's pushing me. He's also doing things for me that no one else would. He's doing everything for me, my family, everything like that. So he's a very supportive dad, so I really appreciate that from him. When I was getting my driver's permit, when I was the day before my birthday, the day before I was getting my license, he took me out driving on the highway. And it was actually the first time going on the highway the day before my license, and I was very scared. So as we're going on the highway, we were on 287. These two trucks were on the outside, or on two outside lanes. I was going through them, and I was shaking going through the two trucks, and he was with me the whole time, like, stay calm, you got this, everything like that. So that really helped me get over that fear of driving on the highway. So yeah, I just want to say thank you, Dad. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today, and thank you, Mr. Osmond, for setting up this event.
Alrighty. Hi, my name is Jared Barnes, and today I would like to talk to you guys about somebody that I hold very near and dear to me, my mother, my twin, my best friend. So there's a lot I could say about my mom, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background. So my mom, she grew up in Irvington, New Jersey, or she was born in Irvington, but was grown up between Newark and Irvington, New Jersey. And she was raised by my grandmother, along with her two brothers. And she ended up going to Jersey Prep in Newark for high school. And when she graduated from there, she moved on to Brandeis University in Massachusetts, where she graduated with an economics degree. Shortly after that, she started working for J.P. Morgan Chase, which is where she still works today as a managing director in HR. And so she has 3 sons and a stepdaughter. My older brother Jaden, me, my little brother Justin, and her stepdaughter's name is Asiana. So I just wanted to talk about 3 qualities that she really exemplifies. So, of course, there's the lessons that she's taught me throughout my whole life. You know, be a nice person, this and that. But these are 3 qualities that she really taught to me without saying them. More or less, she just demonstrated these qualities. And to start off with one, it would have to be compassion. Mother's always been the most compassionate person in my life. She's always been someone that I could come to for advice, and she could really step into my shoes and see things from my point of view. Another quality that I would like to highlight is that I didn't know how to put this into one word, but she's one of those people who can never judge a book by its cover. So you could come to her with any situation from any background of any walk of life, and she will look past that, and she'll always look at you for who you are, not for what you've done or who you were. The last quality I wanted to speak about was her determination. My mom, growing up in a rough area and being a Hispanic woman in corporate America has been very difficult, but she's always managed to exceed expectations and be better than anybody could have assumed she could have been. And I didn't really have one story that could demonstrate everything, much less a time period. So when I was in middle school, I ended up tearing my ACL. It was a really rough time period, especially as a middle school kid. You know, sports are kind of everything to you. And I lost that. And that like really felt like my identity. And my mom was the first person to always remind me that it wasn't, that there was so much more to me than just being able to run a football or shoot a basket. And she'd always remind me that if I work hard enough, take all the steps that are necessary, that I will be back. And happy to say I'm back, playing basketball, love it. So she's always been, so that was a time period that she really showed that she was there for me. I mean, every step of the way, no matter what. I felt like, of course there's a lot of people, it takes a village to help somebody, but it seemed like any call, any small thing, my mom would drop everything for me and just be there for me. And those three qualities are, those are the three most important qualities to me, because those are qualities that I hope to have, that I could grow up and be just like her. I mean, for the rest of my life, it feels like, if you ask me who my role model is going to be, it's always going to be my mother. She's always been someone that I try to model a lot of myself after, not just looks-wise, but just all aspects of it. So, yeah, she does everything for me. She does everything for my family, too. She's the backbone. She organizes family trips, events. She keeps me and my brothers going to school, just doing what we got to do. You know, she's checking in with us every day, it feels like. Just asking the little things, too. Not how's school going, but how are you doing? And, yeah, she means everything. So to my mom, te amo mucho. Everybody else, thank you for coming. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, in life, most, if not everyone, has a special person that we miss. This could be a family member or a friend. In my case, this is my grandfather, who passed away 5 years ago on January 1st, 2018. So, unfortunately, he was the first family member for me to pass away. And to be clear, I only saw him every time I went to Colombia, and despite this, he is still a very special person for me. Today, as I honor my grandfather, I have mixed emotions, as I am obviously missing him a lot, but at the same time, I'm glad he's in a safe place now, watching over our family. So, in his life, he owned several estates and farms, as well as a successful convenience store. In town, he was known for being generous and kind to people, giving as well great advice. And he loved to joke around a lot, but he was a very serious man, as he was always there for any friend or family member with any kind of problem, whether economic or not. I remember my dad telling me one time that in Colombia, poor farmers used to come into the town asking for food, begging for food, because Colombia in some areas is very poor. So my grandfather, from his convenience store, he would actually give these people small portions of food when they would come by once in a while. Another way that my grandfather gave back to society was that he volunteered along with others in a poor neighborhood by organizing festivals and parties to raise money. And with this money, this was used to give back to that poor neighborhood, such as funds for the school. And finally, something that was very bizarre to me was that one day he actually received a group of homeless people into his home one night and gave them food. And all of this shows how big of a heart he had. So, an interesting fact about my grandfather was that injustices around the world really, really bothered him, especially in Colombia, in the area that he lived in. There was lots of violence, lots of poverty, so something extra there. Now, a special memory I have with my grandfather was when our whole family went fishing. He taught me how to fish. Our family spent the day there together. And what I loved the most about this photo was that we were both wearing Colombian sombreros. So it was a great moment with my grandfather. Now, something special to my grandfather was the car that my whole family drive on my dad's side, which was the 1966 Land Rover Santana, and I consider it to be a family treasure, and we have tried to keep it in the best condition possible. Now, another memory with my grandfather was at his estate and farm, in which he showed me around the whole property. It was huge. He showed me around the coffee plants, which I hadn't seen ever before in my life. Obviously in the US you don't see that type of things. And so my aunt was actually taking pictures of us, and coincidentally, the picture on the right, you can see how we're taking the same step at the exact same time, which is pretty cool. Now, once again, in his estate, he showed me around where he had his livestock, so he had a bunch of cows that he would grow and then sell. And on the picture on the right, you can see how I was scared to death. You can see my face, while my grandfather was smiling and enjoying the moment. Now, even though my grandfather isn't here with us today, I'm sure that he is watching over our family and is resting well. So I'd like to thank everyone for being here, and I'm glad that I was able to honor my amazing grandfather. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Luke and I'm doing my tribute speech on my dad because he's my role model and that's who I look up to. He was born in 1974 where he lived in Florham Park his whole life. He went to middle school down the street for where he lived, and he was the class president there, and that's kind of where he realized where he wanted to be in the military. And so he went to Del Barton all 4 years, and from there he attended Villanova, where he participated in the ROTC program, and also worked at the White House for a little bit. And after that he decided to enlist in the military, where he went down in the Middle East and served for a while, and now he, after that, worked on Wall Street, and now he owns 3 preschools, which is where I work at, and I can tell you he's one of the best bosses I have, probably because his leniency with me. It's really annoying probably working with me, but yeah. Now he stays active with his dogs, and he climbs mountains, so I kind of find that really cool. But yeah. he's always set a good example for me, and when he tells me to do something, I don't always do it, but I know that he does it too. So in the military, they told you to make, like, he got it from the military, make your bed, because if you don't accomplish anything during the day, you come home to a made bed, which is something that you accomplish. I've yet to do this really, but I understand where he's coming from, and I kind of plan on doing this during college when I'm far away from home, so yeah. He's also, I'm just proud that we have a respected family. I think that's because of him. He was able to like defy all these odds throughout his life, and when people are going the other way, running away from challenges, he's going right in and he's helping everyone. So I'm kind of proud of that, and I kind of want to model what he's doing. He's also taught me to like turn my dreams into something I want to do, and he's always said like you won't work a day in your life if you're happy with what you're doing. So yeah, my dad, if going to the Middle East and serving in the military isn't enough for the community, he still volunteers at the church, and he does various things for the community all the time to give back. I also see him when I come downstairs to eat like 17 cookies before bed at like 1. There's magazines all over the table, and he's circling toys and stuff for the school and what would benefit the kids, and it comes straight out of his pocket, which I'm like really appreciative and proud of. And I've had a few like really good memories with him. I love going to soccer games with him, and his second son, Mateo, is in the picture on the left. Go to a lot of games, but I love going to all the games around the country with him. It's really cool, and I'm excited to go to Portugal this February and watch one with him. But one of my favorite memories is when I was in the basement one time talking to him, and I bet him that if one of the teams made the finals and they played home, we would go. And he said, yeah, because we didn't think it was going to happen. And by some miracle, it happened. Everything went right. And so we skipped school. Well, I did, and well, he did too. And we went to Portland for a few days, and that was really fun. And that was probably one of my favorite moments with him. Another funny moment was, basketball season. I think it was 7th grade. We lost every single game, and he was the coach, and he would still make us run up and down the court with towels. And it was still really funny, and it was really fun, but I'm glad that he was our coach too, even though we lost every game by a lot. But yeah. He's also had a unique life in the sense of he's climbed a lot of mountains. So this picture right here, he's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and that's in Tanzania. It's the world's tallest freestanding mountain, tallest in Africa, and now he's working on climbing one of the mountains in Argentina, in the Patagonia, which is the second tallest mountain. So yeah, overall, I'm like really proud of him, and I look up to him, and at the same time, kind of annoyed because I have some really big shoes to fill, and I don't know, in a sense, how I'm going to do that. But yeah, just from climbing mountains, doing the military, I think it's safe to say my dad's kind of a badass, so I'm really happy that he's part of my family. Thank you.
So today I'm here to talk about my mom, Haley Blanchard. My mom grew up with a passion for helping others and doing things for everyone else. She has very good qualities, and she loves doing anything she can to help anyone, no matter who, what, where, when, why, anything. She will do whatever. She will drop everything for people. My mom's passion for helping others led her to be a special ed teacher, and she's worked in many different preschools and elementary schools, but she unfortunately hasn't been able to work due to her health, but she is able to tutor, and she still finds a way to love all of her students that she tutors. Since I was younger, we've always had a very close connection, like relationship. We used to always have karaoke car rides, and we still do. Every time we would drive anywhere, we would always blast music and sing, and I'd always end up laughing and almost crying because every time she sings, she proudly will sing the wrong lyrics, and she does it every time, even when she knows the right lyrics. My mom brings out the crazy in me, and I want to say I bring out the crazy in her. She lives for adventure and excitement, really. Ever since I was younger, she was always the person to say yes to anything, going on big roller coasters with me, doing random detox drinks with me on family vacation, and recently we did an escape room. We did not think we were going to make it out. Surprisingly, we did. But my mom was there the whole time, trying to figure it out and trying to make jokes and the best out of it. My mom has always stuck by me, the thick and the thin. When I was at my lowest, my mom helped pick me up. My mom stayed by my side during every hard time I had. When I didn't want to keep myself going, she cheered me up and she found me doctors to help. My mom helped pull me out from rock bottom when I needed her the most. My mom has always been my #1 supporter and will always be. Even when I'm not doing sports, she'll still be there for me. My mom is the glue that keeps my family together. My mom will do anything to fix any relationship in my family. If any of my siblings and I have a fight, she always does her best to try and help everyone, not taking sides, but does her best to help everyone. She doesn't like when there's some conflict in our house, so she right away gets rid of it. My mom is there for everyone no matter what. And even if we did something wrong, she's always there, and she'll always support us no matter what. Mom, I know you couldn't make it today, but you are my best friend. I just want to say thank you for everything you do for me. I love you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ryan Pennington. When I was told to write a tribute speech on someone in my life who was extremely influential, there was never a doubt in my mind that I had to do it on this man. Many know him as Brad Pennington, but I know him as my father. As far as influential people in my life go, he's at the top of my list. No matter what I need, he's there for me, whether it's for school, sports, or if me and my friends need one more person to play video games with. But in all seriousness, he's my #1 supporter. Throughout my life, I've struggled with motivation, especially in high school, whether that's with managing my sports and schoolwork or in the off-season, finding time to train on my own. Through these times, he's been very helpful because he's been through some of the same situations in his life. So my dad is a proud alumnus of Dickinson College, and when he was there, he played 4 years of varsity lacrosse. because him and I have gone through some similar experiences, he not only can validate my concerns and difficulties, but also provide helpful advice in times when I need it. I would also like to note my dad's dedication to my high school soccer career. Throughout our rocky season, one thing I could always depend on was seeing my dad in the stands. Whether the game was home or away, rain or shine, he would always be there. On top of his perfect attendance, he also filmed my games and warm-ups for me and my buddies to watch, so we could see what we were doing right and what to work on. And now I have it documented so me and my friends can look back on it for years to come. Although in normal circumstances I would never admit this, I definitely wasn't the easiest child to deal with. Some could say I had a bit of a temper, and in sports that could be shown in many ways. One of which might be throwing my 6-year-old self on the field, screaming, crying because I missed the goal. Regardless of how that was interpreted, my dad stayed supportive throughout the entirety of my athletic career. My dad has also set extremely high standards for his commitment to my family. He works a full-time job, but still manages to find time to take care of my 3 dogs, me and my siblings, make it to all of our sports games, and run errands for us. My dad always puts others in front of him, and this has been seen many times where he would take me and my 2 sisters out to 3 separate restaurants just so we would all get the food that we were craving. Needless to say, I'm extremely lucky to have him as my father, so much so that no perfectly articulated sentence could accurately represent the dedication and commitment that he's put into me and my family. He's an incredible father, but I also see him as one of my best friends. One memory that I have of my dad happened on a random night in 7th grade. My dad drives a Jeep, and as the weather for the upcoming days was supposed to be nice, he decided to take the top off. Everything was fine until around 11 o'clock that night, it started to downpour. I was supposed to be asleep, but I heard the ruckus downstairs, and my dad ran outside, frantic to try and put anything on top of his Jeep to cover it. In this case, a tarp propped up by baseball bats. I decided to get out of the bed and help him because I figured the punishment of being up late on a school night would be outweighed by my help. And I was correct because he was very appreciative, and in the end we were able to get the very awkwardly shaped and heavy top onto his car with little water damage to the inside. We sat there shocked at what had just happened, laughing, and he turned to me and said, "This is a moment that we will always remember." And although I didn't think much of it at the time, looking back at it 5 years, 5 years ago, it's a memory that I cherish. And although this is only one memory, I've got countless others that I feel accurately represents me and my dad's friendship and our bond. And I couldn't be prouder to call him my father. Thank you.
All right, how's everyone doing today? Good to hear. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Sean Mariani. For those of you that do, which is a lot of you here, I hope you all are well. So when Mr. Osmond assigned us this speech in class, I realized that I had a slight problem. The problem being that I had way too many people that I wanted to honor, and I wasn't allowed to choose more than one. So unfortunately, some people didn't make the cut. So I want to take a chance to thank some of those people. So first, I just want to take the chance to thank my siblings for all the great years we spent together and all the fond memories we've made. Secondly, I'd like to thank my extended family, which includes a lot of aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents who mean more to me than they know. Third, I'd like to thank past and present coaches, some of you here, past and present teammates, also in the back, and mentors along the way who have taught me so much. So that would leave only one person to be the topic of my speech. It is unfortunately not my father, who I have to thank if I don't want to get beat when I get home. So that would leave the subject of my speech to be my amazing and loving mom. I want to take this chance to thank my mom. Thank you for your never-ending support during my athletics and my academics. Thank you for your continued unconditional love and kindness that makes me feel loved every minute of every day. Thank you for your compassion and patience when I was struggling. Thank you for pushing me to be the best version of myself. I'm a better person, teammate, brother, and son for it. And lastly, thank you for just being you. You're the best mom a kid could ever ask for, and I'm blessed to be your son. So what is it that makes my mom so great? My mom embodies the phrase, actions speak louder than words, and has imparted that wisdom into me and my siblings. What is most commendable is how resolute and resilient she is. In 1988, Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland was hijacked and bombed. All passengers on board were killed. That included my uncle JP and my mom's brother. Now, my mom could have chosen to live a life of grief and sadness in the wake of this horrible tragedy, but instead she chose to stay dedicated in all aspects of her life and stay and keep to it, eventually attending Georgetown University where she played lacrosse. Furthermore, some of her actions are some of the most selfless and caring things I've ever seen a person do. Very recently, my grandfather and my mom's dad has started to require more and more care. He needs help around the house doing his medicine, cooking himself dinner, getting up and down the stairs at times. And so 4 to 5 times a week, my mom takes time out of her day to go and care for him. She is not asked to do this, nor is it an easy job. But her dedication to her family and her desire to see her family happy and healthy make it such an easy job for her to do. My mom is one of the biggest influences in my life, and I might be able to say she is the biggest reason I am in the position I am in today. The lessons she has taught me, the qualities she's instilled in me, and the patience she's had for me have allowed me to achieve so much in just a short amount of time. So it's no surprise that when I woke up from anesthesia after a surgery on my broken nose, the first question to my nurse was, "Where's my mom?" Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shane Carfano. Thank you for being here today. This is a tribute to my mother, Kristen Carfano. When you think of someone in your life who inspires you, influences you, and overall makes it better, who is that? For me, it's my mom, Kristen. From dedicating her work to helping children with special needs and changing the lives of troubled kids, to volunteering and buying groceries for the senior citizens of Madison. Every week, she and I would go shopping during quarantine for the ones who couldn't without risk. My mom and I delivered food door to door, and during this process, she made deep connections with the older couples who were unable to see their loved ones. During this time, she was basically their family, and for that and much more, she has the biggest heart I know. As a young girl, my mom was always the star athlete in any sport she did. She was the one that always followed the rules, kept her head down, stayed diligent, and she still is. She spent most of her time alone figuring things out for herself. My mom learned to do her own thing. My mom has also always been a worrier. She worries about her loved ones, their happiness and health. Everything she does for us, her family. The genuinity, empathy, just shines within every second you're with her. Everything she does for her family. But she not only shows it by saying it, she does it every day. My mom is my #1 fan and I am hers. She tells me that every day. She tells me how lucky she feels to be my mom, but what she doesn't know is how lucky I am. My mom makes me feel worthy, like I have a purpose, like I have a chance. My mom makes me feel beautiful when I feel my ugliest. My mom makes me feel special in a world full of 7 billion people. On days I don't feel like starting, my mom shines her positive light on any situation. She says, "It's time to start our day in a fantastic way. You only live once, that's the motto." On days that are the hardest, just seeing my mom's face makes them the easiest. My mom is accomplished. When I asked her what her biggest and proudest accomplishment was, she said having a family, having me. Not only does she make me feel like the only girl in the world, but she puts everything she has in supporting me. From sitting and sweating in the 90-degree heat on a turf field, to sitting and freezing in a 20-degree ice rink. My mom is my rock, my idol, my inspiration. She's overall the person I strive to be. I strive for her knowledge and wisdom. I strive for her positive outlook and her ability to just be good at everything. My mom is 1 in a million. There's no one like her, and there never will be. She makes me so proud, and I can't believe I can call her my mom. Thank you to the woman who made it all happen. Thank you to the woman who is always there, even when she isn't in the moment. Thank you to the woman who can do it all. Thank you to my beautiful mom. I love you today, tomorrow, and forever. Thank you.
How do I get the like arrow to come down? Huh? Yes. Oh, okay. There we go. Hello everyone, and good afternoon. Today I have the immense pleasure of giving a tribute speech about someone very special to me, and that is my middle school science teacher, Dr. Michael Gervis, or as I know him, Dr. G. My journey with Dr. G started for me in middle school, which for most people is the most awkward time you'll be alive. And this was largely the case with me. I was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD from a very young age in middle school, and this led me to struggle a lot in school. I could never really pay attention. Math and science, funny enough, were my hardest subjects. I would always look at the board and I would never be able to retain any information. I couldn't pay attention. It was so boring, I didn't care. It was very stressful for me. And that was until I met Dr. G. Dr. G is an absolutely outstanding teacher, and I cannot emphasize that enough. He, right from the get-go, made me feel welcome in his classroom. A lot of teachers in the past with me would become very annoyed very fast, as I moved slower in the class than most kids, and I wasn't always the best learner.
But this wasn't the case with G. G had a smile that would instantly make you feel welcome, and right from the get-go, he let me know that if I had any issues in his class, I could always come in for extra help, I could always talk to him, and he would always make me feel accommodated. This really helped me in school and was really what I needed, and my grades absolutely skyrocketed. I went from failing 4 classes to being on the honor roll just 2 semesters later, which for me was a very big accomplishment. And this continued on for me throughout middle school. Me and Dr. G developed a very strong friendship with each other, and we continued to learn and progress. And through this friendship, G really helped mentor me mentally. He helped me realize I wasn't this dumb kid with these learning disabilities, that I was smart, and that no matter how hard I worked, I would be able to accomplish whatever I wanted to accomplish. G also helped me learn a lot of life lessons that I am thankful for. He helped me realize how fortunate I was in life, and that the position I was in, not many had. G taught before teaching at Harding Township Middle School at Patterson, which at the time he taught was a very, very rough school, much more rough than Harding Township Middle School. I can tell you that. And I think that's where G learned his extreme patience. He really has a special gift to connect with each and every one of his students, and he's just a very patient, considerate person, and he would always tell me these stories of kids getting jumped or these kids in impoverished situations that were trying to work their way to better lives, and it truly inspired me and made me realize that there's so much more I can do, and that these learning disabilities I have don't put a limit on my smartness, and that no matter how daunting things seem or how much of a hole you think you're digging yourself into, that you can do it, and no matter what, if you work hard, you will accomplish your dreams. And because of that, I am forever grateful to Dr. G. So I just want to end this speech by saying thank you to Dr. G, and I'd like to end it with the exact words he said to me before I left for high school. On my final day of class, I came into his room, and I was telling him about how nervous I was for high school and how I didn't know what was going to go on. And he just said one sentence to me, which was, "You're a smart kid, you're going to be fine, just don't eat the cat food and you're good to go." So thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zach Tadeo. I'm here to talk about who my role model is and the person I look up to. For me, that's my dad. My dad has been there throughout my entire life, helping me improve in basically everything I've done in life, helping me become the man I am, teaching me lessons at every corner where we are, no matter what. As many of you know, my dad attended Penn State University, and he wanted to share this opportunity with the rest of our family, and he started bringing us up from a young age. I was a few months old when I was at my first Penn State tailgate. He's given me and my sister the opportunity of seeing a college campus before we've gone off to college, and letting us see what it's like to be at college and let us know what it's going to be like when we get to college. Especially at such a big college like Penn State, it's really a game changer to figure out what you like in a college and what you don't, especially with us going off to college now. It's been a real help, not only to me and my sister, but he's given me the opportunity to share with all my friends. I love bringing up friends. We go to the games, have a great time, and just bringing them up is truly amazing, so I'm really appreciative of everything that he's done to allow me to bring up all my friends. And it's also brought up one of his famous quotes for me, which is, "Pay attention to your surroundings," because when I was a kid, I would be constantly throwing a football or kicking a soccer ball around, and I'd throw or kick it into another person's tailgate. Most of the time, they wouldn't really care, but sometimes they'd get mad, and my parents would get mad at me. But for the most part, I really just had to pay attention to my surroundings, my dad said, and whenever I realize that I'm paying attention to my surroundings now, I'll make sure to tell him. And growing up,
He's been my coach throughout my entire life, through baseball, basketball. He's been there, and he's basically taught me hard work and dedication. And for baseball, he's drove me around town to every cage possible, sometimes not even finding one, and then referring to going to extra innings all the way on Route 10 just to make sure I get my work in and prepare for the upcoming season. Then in basketball, we love playing one-on-one in the driveway, and then he'll resort to playing horse or pig because he doesn't want to play anymore. And lastly, just teaching me golf and how it's been just part of our life in every summer activity. Teach me the up and downs, you know, hitting a great drive right down the middle of the fairway and then shanking one to the woods in your next shot. But he's giving me the opportunity to play in such great courses, so I'm really thankful for everything he's done there. And then lastly, he's taught me how nothing is ever given to you, and you must earn and work for what you want. This really mainly came up during COVID. When I wanted to prepare for the upcoming baseball season, but I couldn't go to any indoor facilities to prepare and get my arm ready for the season. And so I asked my dad for a portable pitching mound. He told me no, because they're extremely expensive, but he said he would pay for all materials if I was willing to build it with him. So I took him up on the opportunity, and it took us about a week and half our garage, but we got it done. I absolutely love it. It works really well, but it weighs a ton because it's made of solid wood. But overall, I'm just really grateful and thankful for everything my dad has done for me. He's given me so many opportunities to succeed in life and has pushed me to become who I am right now. And the main quotes that I want to give you guys today from him are, pay attention to your surroundings. I outdrove you on this hole in golf, and through hard work and dedication, anything is possible. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been such a great pleasure. Please, one more round of applause for my students. This was a delight. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. Excellent job, guys. I would wait a few minutes before you go, because that was the school bell for, so it's a little bit chaotic out there. But get home safe, and thank you again.
Thank you.